Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Jeff and today we're going to be diving into a deck tech for a Kaldheim standard deck, and we're diving into Clerics today. So super excited, especially because we got one of the best Clerics of like all time here with Righteous Valkyrie, 3 mana, 2/4 flyer, Angel Cleric. Whenever another Angel or Cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. As long as you have at least 7 life or more than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. So we can gain lots of life in Clerics in general. We've seen that in the past, and this just gives all creatures +2/+2 pretty quickly in this deck, and we already are needing to get up to 27 life for other things in the deck. So Righteous Valkyrie just fits perfectly into this deck. So we're going to dive into what I created here, what shenanigans I have brought out. So a lot of other people have been diving into this deck as too. So I'm not saying that I'm the first one to ever come with the concept, anything like that. But I hope that this just helps you guys out to be able to have something to play with right away as we're diving into Kaldheim when it comes out on Thursday, the 28th. You can also come and check out some of the content I'm going to be doing on the 27th, either on Twitch or here on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, so you can know when that stuff comes out. I'll be trying to put up videos the same day as the pre-release event, so I'm going to be doing 2 to 3 videos on that day, as well as streaming quite a bit of videos over on Twitch more in the evening time. It's going to be a crazy day. So like, subscribe, all that stuff, and we'll be diving into it. All right, so by the way, that's sponsored by Wizards of the Coast that I have the ability to do that. I have to say that. All right, sorry. Speaker of Heavens is the other reason that we're trying to get up to 7 mana. As long as we have 7 life more than our starting life total, then we can tap and create Angels, which then also gains us more life with Righteous Valkyrie, which gets us more solidified in our 7 life, like being over our 7 life there, which is just awesome. So Righteous Valkyrie, just a huge combo that works with Speaker of Heavens and everything else anyway. What are all the other good Clerics that we're playing? Well, first off, I try to add in a few of the newer Clerics. I try to add in more of the new stuff rather than just sticking to the things that we're already working with Clerics. In fact, to the point where I'm not even sure you keep Aura the Skyclave Hierophant anymore. I really don't. I'm not sure this is that good. It does have a powerful effect, 4 mana, 3/3. It has lifelink. That's one of the main things that we like about this. Once it gets +2/+2 with Righteous Valkyrie, or if you have multiple Righteous Valkyries out, it can be really big. Then having a lifelinker in general is just really nice. So whenever another Cleric you control dies, return target Cleric card with lesser cover mana costs from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's another reason why we are playing Clerics, though. Aura kind of like created this tribal deck with Clerics. Also, Cleric of Life's Bond works as well with it. Whenever another Cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life, which is sweet, more life gain. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, you get to put a +1/+1 counter onto Cleric of Life's Bond, which you can stack things pretty interesting with this. So let's say that you have a Clerics of Life's Bond out on the battlefield, and then you also have Righteous Valkyrie on the battlefield. One thing you can do that's pretty cool is, let's say that another Cleric of Life's Bond hits the battlefield. It's the first time you gain life each turn. You make sure that you stack the triggers so that you can gain life with Clerics of Life's Bond first, which then will put counters onto it. It'll trigger immediately because it's the first time you gain life. It'll get counters onto it. It'll increase the power and toughness of the creature that is then entering with Righteous Valkyrie, so that the toughness, once it finally checks and has Righteous Valkyrie's ability trigger, you'll be getting 3 life instead of 2 life. There's not a lot of instances that something like that can happen, but it can. So just you beware of that and stuff. Sorry guys. All right, it's late, I'm getting goofy. All right, so basically we have the same package with Clerics that have been around for a while. We have Speaker of Heavens, we have Archfiend's Vessel, which are just really good creatures to be having on the early game. Speaker of Heavens being a vigilant lifelinker. Once we have +2/+2 with Righteous Valkyries and everything, or +4/+4, a vigilant lifelinker is just busted. It's really powerful. It's really good, especially when it's making Angels for us at the end of each turn. It's good stuff. Okay, Luminarch Aspirant to make Speaker of Heavens even better. And Archfiend's Vessel. Honestly, Luminarch Aspirant, I'm only putting 2 copies in, and it's basically because I wanted to make sure I fit in room for lands here as well as Skyclave Clerics. But honestly, probably deserves to have a full playset of this. I'm trying to fit in more space for other more fun cards that are coming with the new sets. Specifically, Fura, Judge of Valor, which probably doesn't necessarily deserve to be in the competitive version of this. So if you're trying to build a competitive version, take this out, add in Luminarch Aspirant. But I wanted to showcase it in this, and so it's fun. And I do think Clerics have the ability to cast 2 cards a turn. So whenever you cast, first off, it's a 5 mana 2/4 Angel Cleric. Again, that has flying and lifelink. So the lifelink side of this is still going to be pretty decent. It still is an angel that can be evasive and kind of help you race with the life total a little bit more, but so that at least is nice. Then whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. That's the other side of this, which is pretty cool. Our clerics do want to have cards in the graveyard, like with Aura or with our Null Priest of Oblivion or Call the Death Dwellers and Aghanim Awakenings, all these different ways that we can go and grab stuff from the graveyard and throw them back onto the battlefield. So Fear of Judge of Valor, I think is actually pretty good. I'm not positive that it's powerful enough to really see a ton of play here, or if it's quite as good as just having Lumeric Aspirant to make sure that our Speaker of Heavens are better, or or our Righteous Valkyries have even more power as well. Like there's probably better things to be doing than just that, but I wanted to show it off as well. The same here with Draugr Necromancer. Let's go ahead and dive a little bit closer on this one. 4 mana, 4/4 zombie cleric. So it is a cleric for us. It's a snow creature. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, that card with an exile that card with an ice counter on it instead. You may cast spells from among cards. You may cast spells from among cards in exile for your opponents with ice counters on them. You may spend only snow sources as their mana of any color to cast those spells. Sorry, that's a lot of words, and I'm dyslexic, and so this just makes it a little bit difficult. But you get it. Okay, cool. This is just another cool one. The main reason that I like this card is not so much that you get to cast everything that was exiled with it. It's hard to make that actually happen. But we do have some removal. We do have some good just bodies on the board. So a lot of creatures can end up dying to combat, combat effects, whatever else, just attacking with big board, big stuff. And so having a Draugr Necromancer can just add extra card advantage, add extra stuff that we can do. As long as we're running a few snowlands to be able to cast, whatever, 3 or 4 drop that we end up blocking, or it gets chump blocked, or we kill other stuff, it's pretty good. The other side of this is that it also just exiles any creature. So Kroxa, if we have this on the battlefield and Kroxa hits the battlefield, it immediately gets exiled when it sacrifices, rather than going to the graveyard. And that's permanent, no matter what. Even if there wasn't an ice threat, as long as Draugr is out, it does just create an exile of their creatures whenever they die effect. And so that is actually really powerful. That's the other side of this I think is worth. I'm not sure you run 2 of. I'm trying to run 2 of just because I want to be able to see it more as we're playing new cards, all that kind of stuff. But it probably becomes a 1 of for us after this, and then we just make sure that we are running Snowlands, which, by the way, I didn't have the access to Snowlands just yet. And so you change these plains and swamps to snow plains and swamps, and I think that's all that you add. I don't think you need to add any more than these 10 lands that are snow, and with that you're totally fine. I'll try to make that change before Kaldheim comes up. I'll do it after this so that it goes down description below for that. Okay. All right. Let me zoom out. Yeah, these ones. Okay. Then the other best things that we have with this deck, basically, so then we just need to have removal. We have a couple of different pieces of removal. Bloodchief's Thirst, just a really powerful removal spell for us. Heartless Act, really good removal for us. We do have just trade-off with their stuff, and we bring our stuff back, which is kind of our other side of removal. We don't have tons of other things besides these, but we do have 2 copies of Hogwarts Mauling. And then a pretty cool card here with Ascend the Worldly. And so I'm actually thinking that this does deserve a slot in the competitive deck. And I think that's different from what a lot of people are saying. And so let's go ahead and dive into it a little bit. So 3 mana, choose a creature you control until your next turn. All damage that will be dealt to creatures you control is dealt to that creature instead. So it's until your next turn, not just this turn, which is really big. So we'll talk about what we can do with that in a little bit. And then the third counter, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with flying counter on it, where that creature is an angel warrior in addition to its other type. So we can gain more life with it. It's pretty cool. Whatever. It's an angel, sweet. That's cool. Being able to bring other stuff back. It's basically just another way that we can do stuff. The 1 and 2 saga ability I think is actually pretty fun though. So the biggest thing with this, one of the biggest issues with clerics, is that we don't have this ability to be attacking in as aggressively as we sometimes want to. With a scent of the worthy. Dude, I cannot speak right. I'm so sorry, guys. I cannot speak right. I know I'm saying it wrong. It's on purpose. All right. Anyway, choose a creature you control. Until end of turn, all damage will be dealt to that creature instead. So let's look at a couple of creatures that we want to have die in this deck. Well, if we have Aura out and we want something bigger, like maybe our 5-drop Furia, which is not that amazing. Any damage that we attack in with all our big stuff. So Clerics of Life Bonds, we've seen with Clerics are able to get really, really big. They can become 5/5, 6/6s pretty quickly in this deck. And then with Righteous Valkyries out in the battlefield too are just going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So what most opponents are going to be doing is chump blocking at least 2 of our creatures each time. Well, if what we can do is, okay, they might chump block, but they might actually be able to kill something, or they might have Death Touch, or they might have something else on board. And typically that just creates a stalemate that does have clerics end up losing oftentimes, just because we're trying to build this board that is just value and then swing in and kind of win through a few like 5 different combat steps basically. And I think Ascent of the Worthy lets us have those combat steps without as much consequence. We can have our King's Vessel, which we want in the graveyard anyway, be the target of all this. So then we attack him with everything. All the damage that's dealt to our creatures goes to our King's Vessel instead. Or let's say it's on the opposite side. We know someone's going to be sending in Embercleave. We know someone's going to be sending in all this different stuff. All that damage instead goes to our King's Vessel. Of course, if it has Trample, I think it does 1 point of damage to it, and then it has all the excess go to you. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. So there actually is a downside of that. But you could also maybe like attack in with a Clerical Life Spawn, have it be a 7/7, something like that. Have it hit with Ascent of the Worthy. If they swing back, you block with creatures. All that damage is instead done to our 7/7, which is a lot harder to kill. It takes a lot more damage, and we get to keep our Speaker of the Heavens or whatever else. So there's a few different combat tricks where I think Ascent of the Worthy is nice. It also does have recursion, bringing back creatures, which we want to have happen anyway. So basically this is like, okay, if you have Arcane's Vessel on the battlefield, then turn 3, there's not much better things you can do than have a way to make sure the Arcane's Vessel most likely dies. Otherwise, just stop them from blocking your combat damage for a couple turns, or have them, stop them attacking for a couple turns, which you're also fine with. And then, because otherwise, Ascent the Worthy will automatically be bringing back Arcane's Vessel to the battlefield to create the 5/5 demon. So that's the kind of things that you can do with it. I think Ascent of the Worthy is a pretty good card here. I'm not going to spend too much more time on that. This is basically the deck. I think Clerics do have a lot of extra power, and I think it all comes with Righteous Valkyrie. Righteous Valkyrie is just a busted card. It is so good, so good. Really excited to see it played in this deck, as well as just a bunch of other decks. I think Angels decks will be fun as well. Any deck that's just gaining enough life for like Speaker of Heavens and Righteous Valkyrie to work together is just powerful. In the lands, I will add these up to Snowlands, so that's what's down in the description below. I forgot to add them in real quick. But so yeah, basically Snowlands here. The pathways, we already had this one. We had the Temple of Sciences and Fabled Passages. I went to 3 copies of Fabled Passage just because I didn't want too many slow lands. This deck does not want that many slow lands. We want to be playing stuff on turn 2, turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. We can maybe after turn 3 still play another 2-drop or 3-drop or something like that, and that'd be fine. But having 5 tapped lands might even still be too much, especially with the Hagram Mauling and Skyclave Clerics as well in our land base. But I figured that having more action is also good here too. So anyway, this is the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Let me know if you guys like this kind of content, these kind of deck techs. I might be adding them in a little bit more as well, specifically just because we can't actually play Magic yet. And right now I'm just a little bit bored of the other stuff that we're doing in Magic. I'm more excited for Kaldheim than I am for playing the same meta that we've been doing for a while. So we're diving into Kaldheim decks. That's why we're doing a few more of these right now. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, that stuff. See you in the next one. Bye.